do. So I created the Illegal Immigration Relief Act. It was the first of its kind, and what it did is it punished businesses that knowingly hired illegal aliens and landlords who knowingly rented to illegal aliens. Because we had a right to do that. We had a right to suspend the license of businesses who were already breaking the law, because it is illegal to hire illegal aliens, and it is illegal to harbor illegal aliens. I didn't do this to get on national TV. I didn't do it to get on Lou Dobbs. I didn't do it to raise my popularity. I didn't do it to run for a higher office. I did it because it was the right thing to do for the people that I represent, so I was going to do it. We were immediately sued. 36 lawyers from the ACLU represented plaintiffs, most who were admitted illegal aliens, were suing our city. We went to court. The people who were suing us, the illegal aliens, had asked the judge if their identities could be kept confidential from the public, which he granted. He asked the judge if their identities could be kept confidential from the city of Hazleton, who they were suing, and he granted it. We were not allowed to ask their names. We were not allowed to ask where they were from, if they were even from Hazleton. They then asked the judge if they could be excused from showing up at the trial because they're in the country illegally and they didn't want to go to a federal courthouse. And he granted it. We never saw our accusers. I never saw the faces of the people who are suing my city. And we lost the lawsuit. I had to take the stand for 2 whole days while those who were in the country illegally never even had to show up. And the judge in his decision said that a person is not in the country illegally until he's brought before an immigration judge and determined he's in the country illegally. And I hate to disagree with the good judge, but that person is in this country illegally the very first foot they step on American soil without proper documentation. They gave people who were in the country illegally more rights than you or I would have had, because you could not sue your city and remain anonymous. So I've appealed that decision, and we've had our hearing in the Third Circuit Court in Philadelphia, and we're waiting for that decision to come down any day. It's 17 months now since we've had that day in court. And it won't stop there, because I plan to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court. But it was during this time that I also noticed something else. I noticed how much that those that represent us lack the courage and backbone to do what's right for the people they represent. When I did this, I could tell you that I could not find an elected official to come near me. Nobody would come to Hazleton. They didn't want to be around Lou Barletta. And to tell you the truth, it was really refreshing not seeing them in my city. I remember even in the presidential primary, the 6 weeks, Senator Clinton, Senator Obama, and Senator McCain were traveling up and down every day for 6 weeks, if you remember. But they would never come into Hazleton, and I started thinking maybe it's because of me. So I invited the 3 of them to please come to Hazleton, and where better than Hazleton, Pennsylvania, to tell the country what you will do about illegal immigration and see firsthand the problems that small towns in America are having. No one would come. And it was very lonely there for a while, standing there by myself. But then I realized something, that I was never alone. Although there were no politicians or elected officials who wanted to come around me, there were millions of Americans all across the United States who were standing with me. Letter after letter after letter, boxes after boxes of mail were coming from people I've never met. I remember getting a letter one time from a veteran, a retired veteran. He sent $7 in the envelope. He said, "Mayor, here's everything I have in my wallet. Keep fighting, you're an American hero." And I realized that this was not just a problem in Hazleton. This was a problem everywhere. But they lacked the courage to do what's right. They wanted to be politically correct. And it has nothing to do with what's politically correct. It's what is right for the people of this country. So I decided I was going to run for office. I was going to run for Congress. If the people in Washington didn't have the courage, and it didn't have to be illegal immigration. It didn't matter what the issue was to me. If it was affecting the people I was representing, I was going to stand up and fight for them. And this was not what was happening in Washington. But they didn't want me there. I could tell you they've spent over $7 million to keep me out of Washington in the last election. And we came very close. We came very close, but that's all right because I said it was a slip and not a fall. You know, I'm not done. I have never backed down, and I never will. I will continue to fight for what I believe in. And I remember that day in November, I remember November 2008, because America had voted for change. America had voted for hope. We were told that the world would be safer, that our families would be stronger, and that our futures would be brighter. And since that time, what we've seen since that election is government takeovers, government bailouts, out of control spending, a debt that is ready to explode, a debt that could destroy this country. Just 1 year ago, Nancy Pelosi told us that if we didn't spend $800 billion, that if we did spend $800 billion, that we would put Americans back to work immediately. Well, since that time, and unemployment, she said, and her friends in Congress, unemployment would not go above 8%. Well, since that time, 2.7 million Americans have lost their jobs, and unemployment soared to 10%. This is not the change that America had voted for. This government will not, and Uncle Sam will not save America. It will be the moms and pops that will save America. All the while we needed to put people back to work, Washington was working on a health care bill that nobody wanted. A health care bill that Americans clearly said they didn't want. Now, nobody disagrees that we need health care reform, but not with $1 trillion price tag. Not a health care plan that will take $500 billion out of Medicare, that will ration our health care, that is simply unconstitutional, that tells young people that they must buy health insurance whether they want it or not. What we should be doing is working to make sure that America continues to be the most competitive and innovative country in the world. What we should do, we should be working on innovation, education, research and development. We should be inventing and manufacturing and selling more products around the world. That's what our government should be doing. When I get to Washington, I'm going to work on tax cuts for small businesses so that small businesses can keep more of their money, employ more people, put more people back to work. I am going to demand that we treat foreign terrorists as enemy combatants and not give them constitutional rights in a time of war. I will make sure that we secure our borders. And I will fight every attempt to give amnesty to millions of illegal aliens who are in this country. I will fight every attempt to grant another bailout. And I'll vote to send back any unused stimulus money to the people who gave it to them in the first place. That's you, the taxpayer. I'll vote to make health care affordable and accessible for those who want it and take it out of the hands of bureaucrats and politicians and put it back in the hands of our doctors. I'll fight to make sure your voices are heard and your freedoms are secured. Because the strength of America is not in its government, it's in you, the people. And I have a message for Nancy Pelosi and her friends in Congress. I'll keep my guns, my God, my freedom, and my money, and you can keep the change. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.